I got to spend a lot of time with my family this morning, and I was thankful for that, but I got to tell you, there's nothing like being with my church family and getting to worship with you and edify one another and bring just our voices together as one to bring glory and honor to our King. And so I'm thankful for being here tonight. I hope you are as well. I hope tonight has been an encouragement. I promise I'm not going to preach at you tonight. You can be thankful for that. We're going to go about 10 minutes here, but I do just want to end our service with some thoughts that hopefully will help you navigate the holidays in a way that is profitable for us. There's an amazing story, one that I assume many of you have probably heard, as it took place originally in 2016, a story of an amazing Thanksgiving meal and feast. In 2016, an Arizona grandmother named Wanda took out her phone to invite her grandson to Thanksgiving. She sent the following text: "Thanksgiving dinner is at my house on November 24th at 3 p.m. However, she soon realized that she had texted the wrong number, as the number texted back, "Who is this?" And it turns out she wasn't texting her grandson, but she was texting a young teenager by the name of Jamal Hinton, a complete and utter stranger. And however, after some back and forth as they cleared things up, he sent back the text, "Is there still a plate that I can get, even though you're not my grandma?" And Wanda responded in the most grandma way ever someone could: "Of course you can. Grandma feeds everyone." And Jamal actually went to her house. He took her up on this offer, this gracious invitation, a complete stranger. And as the story goes, till this day, 10 years later almost, he goes there every Thanksgiving, and he eats with this family who welcomes him in. It's a story that is so moving and touching, a story that resonates with so many that it's actually, as of this year, becoming soon to be a documentary on Netflix. It's a story of love, a story of hospitality, a story of a gracious invite to someone who had no business being at that Thanksgiving table, but yet found himself there. And that story reminds me of an Old Testament story that is just as heartwarming. If you have your Bibles, 2 Samuel chapter 9 is where I want us to look and consider this evening. It's a story of a stranger being welcomed in and seated at the table out of love and generosity. It's a story of a stranger who didn't deserve to be there, who had no right to be at the family's table, yet was treated as a son. In 2 Samuel 9, beginning in verse 1, David asked, after he's taken the throne, "Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Now there was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba, and they summoned him to appear before David and said to the king, "Are you Ziba? At your service," he replied. Verse 3, the king asked, "Is there no one still alive from the house of Saul, to whom I can show God's kindness?" And Ziba answered the king, "There is still a son of Jonathan. He is lame in both feet." "Where is he?" the king asked. Ziba answered, "He is at the house of Machir, son of Amiel in Lo-debar." Verse 5, so the king David had him brought from Lo-debar, from the house of Machir, the son of Amiel. When Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, he bowed down and he paid him honor. And David said, "Mephibosheth, at your service," he replied. "Don't be afraid," David said to him, "for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan, and I will restore to you all the land that belongs to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." Mephibosheth bowed down and said, What is your servant, that he should be noticed, a dead dog like me?" In verse 11, the story ends, and so Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's sons. David, in love for his former friend Jonathan, invites his only remaining son to sit at the table for the rest of his life. And we should notice that, again, this is a story simply out of love and compassion. They are the only motivating factors. as he brought nothing to the table. Much like that teenager Jamal in relationship to Wanda, he isn't someone that has anyone or anything to offer David that would be useful to him in any way. The text makes clear that Mephibosheth had no money, he had no land, he had no job, no reputation, or even the ability to walk. He viewed himself as equal to a dead dog, and likely society viewed him in that way too. Yet this is the man who gets invited to the feast of David, not to sit there once, but to sit there for the rest of his time on earth. He gets invited to the feast of the king, gets to be in a place that he had no right to be or didn't deserve to be, shouldn't have been, out of love and compassion of the king. There's a lot to be thankful for this week as we celebrate Thanksgiving, a just wonderful holiday. Tonight we reminded ourselves of many of those things, our church family, our wonderful elders who labor. We reminded ourselves of, as Glenn prayed, the material blessings that we have, the beauty of the nature around us. There are things that we all have probably said over the last few days and thought and echoed in our mind, like our own families, our cars, our jobs, and the list could go on and on. However, as we likely sit around the tables tomorrow and feast, can I just encourage us to be reminded that our reality is that of Jonathan's son. In Luke chapter 14, Jesus would compare eternity to a banquet feast which takes place at a nobleman's home. In the passage, Jesus would talk about those who get the invitation to sit at that table and feast from it. He would say in that parable, that story, speaking on behalf of the nobleman who represents the Lord, go quickly into the streets, into the alleys, and bring in the poor and the crippled, the blind and the lame. Who gets an invitation to sit at the feast of Jesus for all of eternity? It's not those who have anything to offer the Lord. It's not those who are of a certain wealth, a certain socioeconomic standing, those who have done so many righteous deeds, so they deserve to be there. Jesus makes clear those who will be full, heaven will be full of, are those who have no business being there. It's the lame, the crippled, the outcast. It's you and me. People who in this story are representative of the Gentiles who can again be brought into you and me, who have nothing to offer to the Lord. Yet here we are, children of God, in his house, saved with the hope of heaven. We have no works that could earn us the seat at the table. In fact, we have, unlike Mephibosheth, wronged him directly, gone away from him numerous times, and rebelled against him again and again. Do we deserve a seat? No, but yet he gives us a seat at his table. And so tomorrow as you feast, and I hope you do, take full advantage of that. As you feast and you sit at those tables with your family, a place that you probably have a right to be, remember the table that you sit at and will sit at in heaven, the one that God has given you, not because of who you are, but because of who he is, one of love, compassion, and mercy. This evening, if you're not a Christian, if you're not a child of God, tonight we want to extend an invitation to you, an invitation that is given through the cross, the shedding of Jesus' blood. God loved you so much that he sent his only begotten Son so that you could be saved. And for that, we are so thankful. If you know what you need to do, if you know God's plan of salvation, be washed in the waters of baptism, if you have not already done so, we ask that you come forward right now as we stand and as we sing.